have entrusted us to represent their needs in this great body. So today is historic for many reasons. First, let me congratulate all my colleagues from both sides of the aisle who have just been sworn in, especially my newest Democratic colleagues, Peter Welch of Vermont and John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. I commend all of you for this immense honor, and I challenge each of you and...
Because there are huge changes coming to Social Security. They will affect many recipients, everybody. Joe Biden has approved a new plan that's designed to raise additional revenue for America's top retirement program. This will also help increase monthly benefits and help the people that are in need of help. So, in November, 50 million retired workers brought home an average Social Security check of around $1,700. So that might not sound like a lot, but for nearly 90% of the retirees, it's a necessary resource for income that helps cover the expenses. All told, Social Security income lifted 16 million seniors aged 65 and older out of the poverty in 2020. However, this storied program isn't without its shortcomings, and lawmakers know it. Numerous members of Congress and even the President have offered solutions designed to strengthen Social Security, which is facing a greater than $20 trillion shortfall over the next 75 years. But what you might be surprised to learn is that Biden's top economic advisor doesn't even entirely see eye to eye with the President. Prior to being elected in 2020, Biden released a 4-point plan to improve Social Security's financial footing. This key takeaway of the proposal is that it will raise additional revenue in an attempt to offset the program's widening long deficit. The single most important change Biden proposed was increasing payroll taxation on high-earning workers. In 2023, all earned income between a penny and $160,000 is subject to the 12% payroll tax. This is a tax that provides about 90% of Social Security's annual revenue, which it then disperses to people that are eligible and beneficiaries. And any earned income above $160,000 is exempted from the payroll tax. Every year, well over $1 trillion in earnings avoids Social Security payroll tax. Biden's proposal would reinstate payroll tax on earned income up $400,000 and created a donut hole between the maximum taxable earnings cap and $400,000, which earned income will remain exempt. And because the maximum taxable earnings cap rises over time, the donut hole would eventually close many years down the line. The thinking here is that if a large scope of earned income were subjected to payroll tax, revenue for Social Security would receive an immediate boost. And not only that, but raising additional revenue for programs like Social Security is something that Fed Chair and Janet Yellen cannot get behind. Biden's top advisor isn't of the same opinion of the Social Security issues, that can be resolved simply by taxing those with higher incomes. Biden has made it clear that his goal is to raise revenue for the program. However, Yellen's approach would also include spending and reductions for the Social Security program. The first possible method would be gradually increasing the full retirement age, currently 67 for anyone born in 1960 or later. Now this is the age where retirees become eligible to receive 100% of the benefit, and if the FRA were increased over time, it will require future beneficiaries to make a choice, to either take their payout early and accept a permanent deduction, or to wait longer to receive the full benefit. Either way, lifetime benefits will be paid and will be reduced. A second way to reduce Social Security expenditures would be to utilize the CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index, as the program's measure of inflation in the place of a Consumer Price Index for urban wage and clerical workers. The third way Social Security spending would be cut is by reducing benefits. According to the 2022 Social Security Board of Trustees, the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund is expected to exhaust its cash reserves by 2034. If this were to happen, sweeping benefit cuts of up to 23% would be necessary to sustain benefit checks of retired workers through 2096. It would raise revenue by expanding the payroll tax on high earners and would probably add decades to Social Security's solvency timeline. Unfortunately, raising the payroll tax alone wouldn't be sufficient to cover the $20 trillion cash shortfall that Social Security is facing through 2096. So hopefully, President Biden can do something about this and send us stimulus payments.
It's a plan for people who took out federal student loans before July of this year. And a few days ago, I launched an online application process where you can apply for that debt relief. So folks, one of the things I wanted to make sure is we didn't end up where we're in a position that Barack and I are in terms of the Affordable Care Act. It was made a little bit more difficult.
A new round of stimulus could be on the way for many Americans, everybody. Now, this new bill could guarantee low-income households with monthly stimulus payments. As long as they qualify, eligible people could receive up to $1,200 in extra relief. Now, this is awesome news. And according to the Washington Post, Democratic and Republican lawmakers have held early discussions about a new round of crisis relief stimulus spending. A bill for a guaranteed income program proposed by progressive Democrats in Congress is calling for ongoing $1,200 monthly stimulus checks for adults, plus $600 for each child in the household. The program, called the Support Act, which was introduced in the U.S. by Minnesota Democratic Representatives Ilhan Omar and co-sponsored by Representatives Pramila Jayapal and Cori Bush. Omar said in a news release about this bill, "For too long we have prioritized endless growth while millions of people are homeless, hungry, or without health care. The crisis has laid bare these inequalities, and we have the ability to make sure everyone has their needs met." The legislation would set up a $2.5 billion grant fund that would pay for the pilot program. It would pay $1,200 monthly for adults and $600 monthly for each child in the home. Different communities would be involved in the pilot program for the first 5 years, and then the program would become available to everybody who qualifies. According to the proposed legislation, single filing adults with AGI's income of up to $75,000 and jointly filing adults with incomes of up to $150,000, and those filing as head of household with an income of up to $112,000 would be eligible for the maximum amount monthly. Now, a family of 4 or 2 children being younger than age 18 and a yearly income under $150,000 would be eligible for $3,600 a month. Now, the U.S. job market remained tight last month as employers struggled to find people to hire. The Labor Department said that the United States businesses added 390,000 jobs in May as the unemployment rate held steady at 3.6%. Job gains for March and April were revised, down by a total of 22,000 jobs. The demand for labor has also left employers hoping that older workers who left their workforce early in the crisis will come out of retirement, especially after the recent drop in the stock market put a dent in the 401ks. The number of workers ages 55 and older grew last month by 181,000. The labor force also grew by 330,000 workers last month, not keeping up the pace with hiring. In order to attract scarce workers, employers have been offering more flexible schedules, hourly benefits, and higher wages. Average hourly wages in May were 5.2% higher than a year ago, a slight moderation from the month before. But even those bigger paychecks are not keeping pace with rising prices. The Fed is concerned that rising wages could fuel stubbornly high inflation. At 8.3% in May, inflation is already near a 4-decade high, and the central bank has begun raising interest rates aggressively in an effort to regain control over prices. The Fed has raised the rates by half percentage point in early May, and 2 more similar-sized rate hikes are expected in June and July. The former Treasury Secretary is skeptical the Fed can curb inflation without causing a recession and the higher unemployment that comes with it. He said during an interview this week, "I don't think that there's a durable reduction in inflation without a meaningful reduction in wage growth."
Let me start just by making certain that I tell you something that I think I need to say on behalf of Kansans. I've never seen the level of anxiety, uncertainty, concern for the future as I see today when I have conversations with folks in my neighborhood and across Kansas. There's a sense that something's not right.